Seems almost mad to say now, but in the early days of the internet, the technology was seen as something of a political liberation. It was decentralized from mainstream political control and vested interests. Therefore, people could discuss ideas freely. Of course, that meant some of the ideas were extreme and some were stupid, and some people were stupid and crude as well. But that's the cost of free thought, and free thought is the safety valve on any healthy society. Yet as the internet increased in popularity and ubiquity, we began to see it controlled by a small number of massive companies. Alphabet is the obvious example here. They control Google and YouTube, and then you have Meta, who control Facebook and Instagram. Now, given these companies control the platforms the vast majority of people visit, it means they have massive control over the political discourse. This has led to accusations from people of the right that there's a massive liberal bias towards and a promotion of leftist sources online. On top of that, accusations of shadow banning and also an inability to distinguish between legitimate criticism from the right on controversial topics and quote-unquote hate speech. Now, billionaire Elon Musk has tried to save the day by buying Twitter and rebranding it as X. He's welcomed back many controversial accounts and tried to create a marketplace of ideas. And with that, we've seen Twitter, or X as it's known now, become much more of a level playing field. You'll see that the right have much more purchase there, and that allows us to see things that the mainstream media and the government don't want us to. However, as Musk is aiming to foster a free speech platform, he's also had to open it up to more extremist voices, as well as conspiracy theorists and even the odd idiot or two. And this is exactly what Keir Starmer and his government are drilling down upon as the core cause of the recent riots. Starmer and his acolytes seem to believe, or at least stating for political strategy purposes, that the only reason the riots occurred was because of a bit of disinformation online, as well as some far-right accounts who inspired people to take to the streets. Of course, what this means is a crackdown on online speech and a pressuring of the online platforms to moderate who can post and what they can post online. Now, to give the devil his due, Keir Starmer isn't wrong that there was disinformation flying around online and there were people agitating for a riot, but like any political ideologue, he's only giving half of the story here. The other side to this story, of course, is that not everybody on the street is far-right, that millions of people up and down the country are concerned, and something like this has been bubbling away for quite some time. Further to that, we've also seen counterattacks from folks such as the Muslim Defence League, completely ignored by Keir Starmer. This becomes all the more alarming when you see the statements from Peter Kyle. He's the Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology. He said, "It's undeniable that social media has provided a platform for hate. We have been clear with these companies. They also have a responsibility not to peddle the harm of those who seek to damage and divide our society, and we are working closely with them to ensure they meet that responsibility." Now there we have a clear admission that the government is working with social media companies to curb speech, and of course they'll market this to the mainstreamers with just blocking hate from the internet, but hate is a very difficult thing to define, as we've already figured out in recent years. For instance, if somebody's yelling, "I hate you and I'm going to harm you," that's very obvious, but in the modern internet it's so vast with so many people there you can't police it one by one to understand the nuances. For instance, there was the case of Mark Meacham, a libertarian YouTuber with a dark humour. He taught his girlfriend's dog to lift up its paw when he said the words "Sieg Heil." Now in reality, Meacham was just a purveyor of silly, edgy and somewhat crude jokes. However, he ended up getting found guilty of a hate crime for this and probably would have gone to jail if it didn't go international with people like Jordan Peterson and Stephen Fry coming to his defence. My point here is that with any online content, you need an understanding of nuance and context to truly grasp what a person is saying or doing. Yet mass control of platforms is never going to allow for that sort of nuance, and henceforth what we're likely to see is legitimate concerns around multiculturalism, mass immigration and the future of Britain just thrown in with the far-right label due to Keir Starmer's ideology. We're seeing this in real time already. After all, why did this Axel Maganwa Rudakabana murder these children in the first place? Was he anti-white? Had he been watching lots of woke content which had told him white people had oppressed him all his life and deserve everything they get? Maybe we'll never know, and it will just be left to the annals of history under the banner of mental health. It seems to me that Starmer may have a strategy here to put the difficult questions of the age around mass immigration and multiculturalism under the banner of far-right extremism so he doesn't have to deal with them. However, just squashing these legitimate concerns down will likely lead to more trouble in the future. These are just my opinions, however. Do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.